Let's go to the Wednesday Wrangle now with commentator Liz Storer in Sydney and broadcaster Justin Smith in Melbourne. I want to come back to the pandemic in a moment, but I want to start off with both of you on Prince Charles. I just interviewed Philip Benwell from the Australian Monarchist League. How do you end up trying to build confidence in a constitutional monarchy in Australia, Liz, when you've got Prince Charles trying to tell elected governments around the world what to do to tackle climate change and save the planet? I mean, he's way out of line, isn't he?
Stay in your lane, Prince Charles. Honestly, Chris, I've been a staunch monarchist my entire life, and yet the idea of Her Majesty passing, which she must inevitably one day do, although long live the Queen, and having this guy become king is enough to make me a Republican. Genuinely.
Welcome aboard.
This guy said
Welcome
just
aboard,
months
Liz.
ago,
Welcome aboard to the Republican movement.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. It's been a long time in coming. But this guy said just months
Good to
ago,
have you.
Prince Charles, from his lips to God's ears, said that he wanted to see a military response to the climate change agenda. This guy is, I mean, that sounds unhinged on the best of days, but what does that look like?
It's a military-like
we're going to see
response.
military patrolling our streets, militia knocking on doors. Have you done your recycling? I mean,
he was talking about a military-style reorganisation of global capitalism to change the way the economy runs. He sounded like Fidel Castro. That's who he sounded like. It is bizarre. When I say welcome to the Australian Republican movement, I mean that broadly, not that pirate organisation. We need to start a Republican organisation for sensible, right-of-centre people, not that loopy left-wing organisation that Peter Fitzsimons runs. I want to come to you in a second on this, Justin, but before we do, I want to show what I thought was the most embarrassing part of Scott Morrison's trip overseas. I know all the lefties are getting into him over Macron and climate change and whatever, but I hated seeing him sort of doff his lid, if you like, speaking to Prince Charles. Have a look at this.
But now we've committed to net zero by 2050. Australia's done that here in COP26, doubled our climate finance commitments, and we're working very close with our Pacific family, with Prime Minister Bainimarama and the whole team, so which I know you have a great affection for the Pacific.
Justin, isn't that humiliating for our country trying to appeal to the next king about what we're doing on climate change? Give me a break.
Well, it is humiliating, and Scott Morrison has humiliated us on the world stage many times, and there with the future king, he looks exactly like what he is, a dodgy used car salesman who changes his opinion and changes his thoughts depending on the room that he's in.
I should not have given you an opportunity to criticise the Prime Minister. You've just gone way in and over the top. Give me another example of where he's embarrassed us on the world stage.
Well, let's have a look at the way that he's been dealing with the French, which is what you mentioned before.
Yeah, he saved Australia with a fantastic defence deal, and he upset the French. That's good. That's what you do. You do things in the national interest. We're not. He's not the Prime Minister of France.
You like our Prime Minister looking like a liar on the world stage, do you? That's fine.
Not looking like a liar, mate.
I must admit, though, I love watching people, Liz, with the greatest of love and respect to you. You know we're mates, but I love watching monarchists who are also conservatives flipping out over Prince Charles making these speeches about climate change. I've got to say, I'm loving every second of it. It's just it's a thrill ride.
It's almost as much fun as watching all the Republicans suddenly cheer for the monarchy when they buy into politics, which is what they're not supposed to do.
Indeed.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I guess the Queen herself has been able. The Queen's got a lighter touch though when it comes to politics. She's able to steer things in a certain direction. Charles is a little bit more sledgehammer, but hey, but I guess that's the way the monarchy works, though. You get somebody by birthright, and sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't get what you want.
And sometimes you never get what you need.